I would like to know more about Monster Truck. Our listeners don't know the story of the band. So, if you can explain for our listeners the story of Monster Truck.
Yeah, we just kind of all started out as friends in different bands, playing in our hometown. One sec. Yeah, we used to kind of all just hang out as friends, and we're in a bunch of different bands together, and we just kind of came together over a mutual love for rock and roll, and decided to kind of start a band just for fun.
Okay, and who chose the name of the band, and what does it mean, Monster Truck?
Doesn't really mean anything. It's just I came up with it when I was drunk one night. We were all hanging out, and we just thought it would be kind of fun to name the band that. And it was, we weren't taking anything too seriously, so we just kind of went with it.
Okay, let's talk about the Curiosity album. Overall, our opinion is that it sounds a lot like 17th southern rock bands like Blackfoot, Molly Hatchet, The Outlaws. Sometimes like Kiss or bands like Mother's Finest, and of course a lot of blues. What are your main influences?
Basically everything rock and roll. We took a lot of influences from all our favorite bands, whether it's Led Zeppelin or Deep Purple or Soundgarden, Rage Against the Machine, everything new and old. We kind of mix it all together.
And personally, your personal influences as a guitarist?
Probably Angus Young from AC/DC is my favorite.
Yes. It's the only. It's the main influence for you.
Yeah. For guitar playing, yeah, and Mark Farner from Grand Funk Railroad is a big one.
Yes.
Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine is a pretty big influence, just his style.
Okay. Talking about the writing process in the band, who wrote the songs of Curiosity? Is it a collective way of recording, of writing, or everything, or everyone gives his idea?
The songs kind of start with me and John, and then we bring them to the band, and we all kind of work on them as a group. And that's when we flesh out all the ideas and make sure that they're ready to perform.
Okay. We have selected some songs about the new album, and we want to talk about. For example, we like a lot a song called "Power of the People." Can you tell me more about that song?
Yeah, it was basically just kind of song about the state of politics and the state of the world right now, being kind of in a situation where we're on the verge of maybe some fundamental change in the way that people view politics and the kind of interest that is taken by young people in the governing of all the different countries that are kind of all going in separate directions, and it's just kind of a call to everyone to kind of maybe start paying a little more attention to some of the things that, specifically the American government are doing, that, a lot of people don't realize, or that people, other people are feeling that are unjust or, not really the proper way of doing things.
Yes. We have another song called "For the Sun." It sounds like a psychedelic blues song of the beginnings of the 70s. The guitars are very beautiful in that song. Can you tell me more also about that song?
Yeah, I mean, that song came from John. He wrote, basically the entire structure of the song and brought it to us and showed it to us. And it was kind of a situation where I knew that I had to really work a lot harder to get better at guitar, to be able to play the kind of parts that I thought that song needed. And it took me over a year of kind of working through all the different ideas to get to a level where I thought that I was comfortable with playing that song for the record. And then even so, when we got to the studio, I ended up spending, more than 3 days working on all the different lead parts and making sure that they were all, kind of where they needed to be, and they were good enough for to release.
It sounds very blues, that song.
Yeah, I mean that was the idea we were going for, and it was kind of the reason why I felt that I needed to kind of expand my playing and be able to go, do some things that I maybe wasn't used to doing or that I wasn't already comfortable with.
There is another song that I like a lot. It's called "Call It a Spade." Huh?
Yep.
Can you tell me more also about that song?
Yeah, I mean that song was I'm pretty obviously influenced by ZZ Top,
Yes.
and we just kind of wanted to do our own take on that kind of boogie rock kind of blues rock vibe, and that was another song that John kind of wrote and came up with from scratch, and just kind of wrote. He basically put together just about the whole song on his own, and we sat down and learned it as a group and kind of added in a few little twists here and there, and it was actually one that was very easy to take from the initial idea to completion.
Talking about your guitars or your amplifiers, which guitar and amplifiers you use on stage and on studio?
In the studio, I was using a combination between one of my amps that I use live sometimes, which is my Soldano SL60. I also use a JMP in the studio, which I also use live a lot of the time. As for guitars, I was using a lot of different guitars in the studio. 1972 SG Deluxe, and I'm trying to think what else I used in the studio. I pretty much used my 72 SG Deluxe for everything in the studio. And then when it comes to live, I don't really like traveling with that guitar because it's so old. So I've acquired a couple new SGs, a couple 2011 and a 2012 SG that I use for live that I don't have to be as concerned about if they get dinged up or scratched or possibly destroyed.
Yes. It will soon be 1 year that Curiosity was released. Do you plan to record a new album this year, for example?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to get to it this year, but we're definitely have started working on the songs, and we're going to keep working on them throughout the summer, and hopefully get to a point where we're ready to start pre-production. I wouldn't imagine that we're able to get going on actual recording it until the new year.
Great, fantastic. I take a look at your site, and most of the videos of Curiosity are lyrics videos. Why?
I don't know. I hate videos. That's the record label. The record label forces us to do that shit. We've got a bunch of actual music videos, but we don't really like those either. So that's just something that's like one of the things about the music industry that we don't really like, and we kind of have her forced into doing it. And they're basically a tool to use to help get the band out there. But other than that, they're a pain in my ass.
Yes, but why you don't like videos? Why do you think it's not important?
I don't know. I think that making a music video for the sake of making a music video is a dumb idea. It's just like if I had a good concept for a music video or something that was a like I really thought this this song could benefit from a music video, then I would think that would be a good thing. But a lot of times they're just made for the sake of making them, and I don't think that's a good enough reason. It's not usually a good enough reason to do anything, And I if you had a real purpose or a real great idea or a concept to go along with it, then that's one thing. But in the case of what we're doing, it's just pumping out videos for the sake of pumping out videos, and like I mentioned, I don't really think that's a great idea for a good reason to do a video. So
okay.
We're stuck with what we get.
Tell me more about the lyrics.
We like to keep the themes relatively fun. We're not looking to get too overly serious with the songs, and certain songs do have political vibes or political undertones to them, but we kind of keep them non-specific. It's more about kind of living in the moment and making the most of the time that you have, or songs about us traveling on the road and lamenting about kind of wishing we were home sometimes. And we're not really breaking any new ground with the lyrics. We kind of stick to very classical and typical rock themes, and we try and keep it fun for everybody.
Great. Talking about the gigs and the concerts, have you ever thought to have a second guitarist on stage?
No, because the way our band works, the organ is kind of like the second guitar player. So I kind of feel like we've got every kind of sonic area covered with the organ and the guitar.
Yes.
And it would be nice to maybe have someone come in for one song to add just kind of like maybe a different vibe or a different feeling to a specific song. But again, that would be something that I would like to look at if it really called for it. If it was a situation where we felt that we were missing something, it's another situation where I wouldn't want to do it just for the sake of doing it. I like everything to have a purpose and a meaning, and for things to be kind of intentional as opposed to making excuses to do something that isn't really called for. Hey, this is Jared from Monster Truck. You're listening to United Rock Nations. We'd like to send a huge shout out to all our French fans out there, and we hope to see you very soon.